All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trauma Uncensored. We have a great one for you today. We get to hear about Logan. And if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, it is, and some people are going to listen to this later, but the day that this comes out would be the anniversary of Logan's angel date. So obviously a special episode. But we talk a little bit about how Brooke feels going into a day like today. And more importantly, we kind of go into a tangent that just stays for the rest of the episode.
Shock.
I know, but it was great, and I think it's people are going to hear a little bit about healing, talk a little about agency, responsibility, and accountability to your healing, and you get to see firsthand the changes of how Brooke has talked about how she looks at this day in the past and how she looked at it today. It's really a cool and empowering. I know I hate that word though, but like it was really like super motivational, motivating. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway. I promise we talk prettier.
Welcome to the show.
We talk prettier on the show. Okay.
Do we?
Enjoy.
Trauma Uncensored.
Trauma Uncensored.
Trauma Uncensored.
All right, so this is like people are listening to this. People are listening to this on the day.
Yeah. Are we actually officially started?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. This is our cold. This is our cold open.
This is a sad cold open.
I mean, sometimes you have those. I think it's not too sad. I think it's like if people just dropped in halfway through, like, oh hey, what's up, Steve? Or you know what I'm saying? Like you're talking about something. You're like,
Steve.
Oh, hey John.
Where do you come up with these names?
I don't know, man. I wonder about that actually.
Although we are notorious for coming up with strange names and
This is true.
nicknaming our children.
We had
and
Big Richard.
dogs and
Oh yeah.
Richard.
some
I
of
haven't
these-
forgotten about Richard, but
Some of these are fun times.
that's right.
But you had a different name for Richard, and I was like, we should call him Richard for
Mm-hmm.
Big Richard.
I was for Big Richard. I was excited to use the abbreviation for Richard.
Mm-hmm.
But Richard worked out better.
Yeah. And for the context of this podcast, like you could be like, oh man,
Who's Richard?
I just took a Big Richard today.
Oh, I am taking that with me. Oh man, whenever I'm feeling down, I'm taking that one with me. Or life did a Big Richard today on me. Mm-hmm. Dumped a Big Richard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Dumped a Big Richard. And you know, we don't always cold open with categorical humor, but
Saturday life took a Big Richard.
A Big Richard on you.
Dumped a Big Richard on me. Mm-hmm.
Life is welcome to the Trauma Uncensored podcast.
Hey!
Everybody.
It's these things that keep us moving.
They're like a minute and 20 about all
Richard?
this shit.
Little shit.
Yeah. So as you can tell, we like to have fun in a weird way. If it sounds like you're like, what the hell? I thought this was about trauma. It is. Mm-hmm. It is about trauma, and it's about talking about trauma and being able to heal from trauma.
Because both can exist. There can be joy in trauma. There can be laughter in trauma, all at the same time. There's your word "and" again.
I love it. Special episode today, though, because we're recording this obviously prior, but when this airs, it'll be officially September 15th, 2025, marking the 9-year anniversary to the event that essentially spearheaded this podcast.
Yep.
And if you don't know, or if you haven't listened, or if this is your first episode, my name is Andres. I am one of the, I'm the B mic, is what I would say to Brooke, who's here obviously with me, and is the other voice you're hearing, or the other lovely face you're seeing if you're watching this on YouTube and or Spotify. Brooke and her family lost their son in a car crash. This is important. We always distinguish crash, although I sometimes like say accident, and it's not an accident, as we talked about many times. To a person who was on their phone doing all sorts of shit, driving 80 miles an hour on the interstate without bothering to pay attention to the weapon he was driving, amongst other weapons. The man was sentenced to 30 years in prison in a court hearing that took well over 7.5 years to come to a conclusion. And so we, of course, are going to talk about all the different things that have happened during that time. A lot of the episodes cover a lot of the details in that story. Definitely go check out some of those. If you haven't yet, go follow us on social media. We're pretty much everywhere, just Trauma Uncensored. It's the best way to support the show if you want to do that, or more if you want to really support the show. Leave us a 5-star review. Actually, leave us your star review on Apple Podcasts. Did I miss anything there, Brooke? Did I cover the bases?
Your star review. That makes me a little nervous.
No, let him be honest.
I'm hoping that people are. I'm hoping that all the 5 stars that we've gotten are honest. And that they will continue to come.
Hey, that's right.
But you know what? Even better, the feedback that I get. My cousin's husband, I love it. Every Monday I wait. His name's Eric. I wait just to get his text in the day, and he'll listen to the episode, and sometimes it takes him a day or two, but usually it's the evening of, and he'll send me a text and he'll be like, "Oh, this and this and this is what people said to me and this," and I'm like, I know it's not just me. It's not just me feeling it, hearing it, all the things. So
that's pretty sweet.
I do. I look forward every Monday to getting that text from him.
Yep. I love that. Mm-hmm. So what's in it for you? If you're listening for the first time, we are hoping that you find a place where you feel seen, even though this is through a podcast. I think there's ways to have conversations that make people feel understood. And I think that's a long way. It goes a long way into your healing process. If you've been through extreme grief, we are with you. It sucks, we know, but it will also be okay at some point. And sometimes it won't be, and sometimes it will be. Sometimes life takes a big Richard, and it's not okay. Sometimes you get to Richard on life. And that's right. And that's fine. So, but I thought it'd be special today if we kind of talk a little bit about something that we've briefly discussed some of this before as part of a larger topic, as far as like what to say or what not to say to someone who's going through some grief. The echo dates or angel dates or different. We've referred it to different ways, but because this is going to come out on the day, this is like if you're listening to this right at the day it came out, it is the day of September 15th. On the anniversary. And so I wanted to deep dive a little bit more into what goes into these, even the weeks or the few days leading up to this, because there's a physical, there's mental, there's emotional, and even spiritual signs that this date is coming. And your body, Brooke has said this so many times, your body keeps the score. And it's interesting how on specific days like that, that it kind of does it automatically, and you don't even realize it mentally until your body kind of tells you first. At least that's for me the first red flag. And these are kind of the details I wanted to go into, if that's cool with you. And then kind of also weave in some ways to honor Logan as we navigate through this episode, because it's a special day for sure. It is. It's a unique day, and so. All right, so let me just dig in first of all.
Well, hey, remember too, actually the following week, the following episode after is actually going to be really, it's really exciting for me. I think it's a really great follow-up to Logan's, to the episode on Logan's angel date, because we have our first outside guest, and her story, we have bonded in so many ways, and her story is just, it breaks my heart. And we both feel very aligned in our stories. There are a lot of similarities. She didn't lose a child. She lost her husband. And I really feel grateful that she has been in my life, that she was introduced to us very early on after Logan passed, that she's continued to be such a close friend. And she has so many words to share and experiences and, things that aren't, that some are related to our experience, but we'll hit home with other people in different ways. And so on the 22nd, watch for that Watch for that episode for sure.
Oh, that's brutal. And I can't imagine that either. But damn. And I've briefly gotten to meet our guest too. And oof.
Yep.
So cool. She's so cool. I'm like, I will hang out with her any time of the day.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
All right, so let me dig in. First of all, we'll open and close with this, the full conversation. Now that people have been introduced to what we do and what we're doing here, but let's just start with some thoughts that you have as the day approaches. Like what goes through your brain? Let's start with the mental. Like where are you at when you're like just doing laundry and just like you're like, oh shit.
See, that's what I was going to say. But for me, it's not a no shit. It's an oh fuck, here it comes.
Yeah.
It doesn't even, the thing is that even 9 years out, none of it's predictable. Nothing is predictable year by year on when the grief decides to start to set in, when my, tolerance and my patience starts to wane. The only thing I can tell you is that I've done this enough to be cognizant, to give myself awareness or to be aware of the fact that it's coming, and to give myself grace. And what's interesting this year, so I've made a couple really big life decisions in the past couple of weeks. I was talking to someone the other day and I was like, what was I thinking doing all of this right before Logan's angel date? As if I didn't already have enough stress and grief and everything on top of that. Then I go and add, hey, where'd you go? See you later. And he left. Apparently, my story.
No, I was listening. I was still listening. I just had to like.
What I was saying was just too boring, and he's gone.
Get out of here with that bullshit. I just had to like go and read something because I couldn't get it. It was like a.
It was a.
Spin drink.
Oh, I see. It was a drink.
Yeah, I was like, I'm thirsty. I need to go.
Because priorities over what Brooke was saying.
Oh my God. I leave frame for 2 seconds and the whole episode just derails.
Don't you remember the story I told you about how when I was a professor at the University of Tampa, my classroom was on the river? And I'd be standing up on the board and I'd be critiquing students' work and I'd see a dolphin in the river. And my ADHD went straight to that dolphin. And I was like, oh, I'm done. Class is over. Because I couldn't like figure out where I was or what I was doing. That's just what happened.
I was reaching.
You're taking me back.
I was reaching for a dolphin.
Mm-hmm. For a dolphin, if only, right?
So you decided to do a bunch of life changes.
I did. And
right prior.
I actually wasn't even thinking about it. I wasn't even thinking about the upcoming date, which I don't know. I don't know if that means that, healing and finding self importance or self respect or, are finally becoming more important. Like the self is becoming more important than all of the other external circumstances in my life, to where I didn't recognize that date was coming. I don't know.
Okay. So this is a tangent question, and I did not have this in there, but this happens to me sometimes. How we work. I know. This is what makes this such a fun conversation for ourselves and for people. But I mean, at least that's what we've been told. But do you ever feel guilty if you forget?
This time I did. So I've never forgotten before. This is actually the first year, and I wouldn't say that it was forgotten. Now I have forgotten the date in November on many occasions in which we held Logan's memorial. And yes, I'm like, what kind of mother forgets that? So I didn't really forget that it was coming. It just didn't register. Like there were so many other things in my life that were calling my attention and that needed my attention and needed me to act for my own health and self-care and other things, that I made these decisions without registering, that we're already in a space of heightened emotion and heightened all the, fill in the words.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that was a shift that I didn't realize that I needed.
Yeah.
And now that I know it, when it
Ooh.
registered, now I'm like, I mean, because the funny thing is that, every year for Logan's Angel Day, we get caterpillars that turn into butterflies and then we release them
Love
on September
that.
15th.
That
So
is so cool.
I had it on my radar to order the caterpillars in time, and they're actually in the chrysalises.
Chrysalis.
Something like that. They're in
Yep.
their cocoons, if you will, in my living room. And so, I mean, enough of that was on the radar, but there were so many other overpowering things in my life that had become intolerable, that without thinking about the upcoming date, I decided to do what was best for myself and for my own healing and my own happiness, that when it registered that I took those steps in the time frame that I did, and then I was like, wow, what timing, Brooke.
Yeah.
Good on you, Brooke.
But
and I'm walking forward with it. Is it a distraction? Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. But the thing is, like, is that a sign of healing though? Like, isn't that a sign of like?
I want to believe so. Yes.
Because the way I think about it is like this when it happened, because that's happened to me a couple times where I'm like, what kind of fucking person am I for not remember? Like, how did I because so a couple things. One, the trauma and the grief early on in the early, like the first year, for example, I feel like is the hardest. And then there's other moments, right? Like when Logan would have turned 18, that was a tough day, right? It's the day we launched this. So that was like circulating around that. And, you understand that those are dates that you definitely have in mind that you don't necessarily forget. And I know forget sounds, it's not, that's not the right word. You just kind of,
it didn't occur. How about that?
You just misplaced. You just misplaced the date because maybe you're caught up in the now that the future isn't really holding you. But, and so, like that first year, obviously there's no way you forget. And there's grief dates too, but it wasn't just that you lost your son. I mean, you were also in a traumatic, pain inducing, injury causing car crash. There's your daughter. It's also the day that your daughter lost a brother, your husband lost a son. Like there's your family lost a member, right? So it's your grief, it's your family's grief. It's not like, it's something, other types of grief where it's like, oh, today my dog died, which is important, right? That sucks for people, and that is, I'm not saying that that's lesser of a grief or anything. I'm just saying it's like, it just kind of happens sometimes, or it's a natural part of life. Like my grandma passed away. That happens to people. She was old. She had cancer. Things happen, right? To you, it was like a horrific event as a whole. On top of the episode that we already talked about, that the reason that you were out there in the first place was because you were being taken to a facility to be taken care of because you were suicidal.
Not facility.
Not a facility.
A residential trauma.
Residential trauma. Yeah.
There you go. Residential trauma program.
There you go. But
because I don't want to stigmatize.
Correct.
I don't want to stigmatize any, idea of going to help yourself. Facility feels like.
That sounds like asylum or something like that.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And I mean,
that's fair.
encourage. I mean, and I don't think it matters, honestly, where you're going or what you're doing. I think.
Right.
I think saying something. I don't think the word facility carries an amazing connotation in our society.
I think you're absolutely correct. So let me rephrase that. You were just going in a place that it was for you to get help.
Yes.
And you were taking care of yourself in a way that was the right way to do it, that the way people should do it.
Right.
And so like all of this happens, it's a heavy day. So the first year, I can't imagine, right? The first year, for September 15th of 2017 must have been, just insane. And so I guess the question is,
although we held a party, so I was distracted for most of it. Yeah. We had a gathering to celebrate him, so I was distracted.
Well, but
there were other things going on with Jordan's side of the family that were keeping us distracted as well. So we were kind of
and then the trial, the years later, where it was all going. So I guess where I'm going with this is it's interesting because like all of a sudden, like for me, the first time I forgot an important date in my life, in my head, I'm like, oh, is this just signs of me finally coming to terms? Isn't this a good sign? and then you feel guilty because of that, because all of a sudden you're kind of grieving your grief.
And if I allow myself to
like,
reframe, like you're talking about, if I allow myself to reframe the situation, and I think about the work that I've done and the healing I've tried to achieve, and I continue to try to achieve, and move forward, right? Move forward in living life and thriving in life post horrific tragedy, then to reframe from feeling guilty, not that I forgot, but it wasn't on my radar, to I'm learning how to walk alongside this and not let it consume my every thought, could be a suggestion of actually, the work coming into play
yeah,
and the healing coming into play. So I actually do like the fact that you brought this up, because it's, it does, it makes sense. And it kind of gives me another way to think about the fact that that wasn't on my radar, that I was actually so focused on important things here in the now, as opposed to sitting and dwelling on the fact that here comes another anniversary, right?
yeah,
Here comes another time in my life that for many years I would dread for weeks up to the day. And that doesn't mean that I haven't thought about him,
yeah,
right? I haven't, again, the butterflies, we have the butterflies, and I've already thought about what we're going to do to celebrate him that day. And I don't feel this year like it's consumed me to a point where I feel frozen,
yeah.
frozen in my
It's the
life.
podcast anyway. So
It could be.
no, I
It
mean,
could be.
because I say that half jokingly, because the other hand, I'm like, you've gotten to process this publicly, which is also a
Mhm.
really brave thing that I'm always, every time we record one of these, I'm like, wow, Brooke is a freaking rock star, brave
Thank
person,
you.
because this is hard to talk about, and you're doing this in a way
Mhm.
that people are listening, right? This
Mhm.
part of the healing process is to be able to say, hey, this happened to me, like,
Yep.
and it's okay that this happened to me. It's not okay that it happened, but it's okay that it happened to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole huge distinction, right? On its own. But again, I think of it. I'm like, man, maybe that is a sign. Like, this is what you fucking worked for.
Yeah.
Is so that when
And I
this day
continue
come
to.
around, oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
never gonna stop.
Well, and here's
But
the thing too, is I am cognizant enough as well to recognize how to best support myself during this time, and try
mm,
to relinquish any of the guilt for not being, quote unquote, strong enough just to deal with it. So for example, um, acutely, I am going to ketamine therapy each week. So I don't typically do ketamine therapy weekly. And in this time, in this little bubble, just to get me around it, especially with everything else currently that I've got going on in my life, I am recognizing that I need to allow myself to fall back on tools and activities that allow me to keep going day by day. So, for example, and all of the things that have happened over the past couple of weeks, my OCD has been more active than it usually is. And
mm,
I am fortunate in that I'm aware of it. I'm not this time around, or at this point, I'm aware of the rumination. I've become aware of the need for self reassurance or reassurance seeking from others. I become aware of the cycles that go in my mind. And I also know that certain things can help to mitigate that, to keep that in check. And for me, ketamine therapy is huge for that, because when I'm thinking through my prefrontal cortex, my amygdala is, our fear center is what's driving that. In
mm,
this part where it is driving the fear of the future, this could happen. What if this happens? What if this doesn't happen? X, Y, and Z. And I can go into ketamine therapy and allow my subconscious to come out and say, listen, you're making decisions that are best for you. For the first time in your life, these are decisions that you are
mm.
making for yourself, for
Yeah.
your betterment, for your health, for your
Mm-hmm.
well being. And so the ketamine therapy is a good counterbalance for when my conscious mind starts to become too overactive. So
Yes.
I can allow that subconscious to come in and continue to whisper the things that I need to hear that help quiet down with the conscience and my OCD
Yes.
has picked up and is ramping back up. And if I don't do that, then, I don't know. I mean, I've been able to be, to stay motivated. It hasn't helped in how I've felt necessarily in the stress recently.
Mhm.
But I lean on certain healthy coping mechanisms, healthy, right?
Yes.
I've wanted to, but I haven't picked up a beer. And I mean, it's been very hard for me not to. And, there have been evenings where, I've taken gummies before the past couple of weeks. I haven't touched them at all. I'm trying to just do this in as healthy of a way as possible.
Yeah. Without the things that sometimes helped you get through in a coping way, which is
Right.
fine, as long as you know yourself not to abuse. And this is not, I'm not talking to you specifically, I'm saying generally people who are listening, because people are like, ketamine, I've heard that
I know.
in a book about something bad.
I
It's like,
know.
what?
Well, that's
And
that's
by the way,
going to
we have a whole
continue.
episode about that already, so
Yep.
go check that
Came
out.
out today, actually.
Yeah,
There's
so
there's definitely a negative stigma around that, and it has both saved and changed my life to a point that I am here to tell people that if done properly, not a street drug, under
huge.
the care of a doctor who knows what they're doing,
Yep,
it can change so much for
that's
you.
right.
And again, here's another you also have to be willing to do the work around it. So
Correct. Which is
do the
which is the
therapy.
part that people don't see, right? It's been 9 years, and the work that you've been doing is, I think, what's so. I mean, you've been alluding a lot to, like, I'm making decisions for myself, and I'm making sure, like, again, those are phrases that I hear, and we don't need to know the specifics. I don't need to know the specifics, but the words, I'm taking decisions to help me, and I'm putting my oxygen mask on first.
Which is a first for
Those
me
are
ever.
those are words of a person that is healing. That is toward, and I'm not going to say towards the end of the healing, but is in a healthy part of the cycle of healing, in the right part. That someone who's like healing in a way that's more coping, or isn't really accepting, like, who's doing it, I guess.
No
quote unquote,
accountability. Let's say
yeah.
people who aren't taking accountability.
Yeah, people who aren't taking accountability for healing, and however you want to say that, those aren't words that are uttered by people who are approaching grief.
No, and
The
let me
wrong
tell
way.
you, I mean, decisions like the ones that I have made are fucking hard. I mean, they're hard, and I have struggled through them, and I've allowed myself to keep my healing, my well-being, my moving forward in the forefront,
Mm-hmm.
and I've latched onto that. So, where the emotional side will come in, and I'll be like, am I making the right decisions? Am I making the right choices? Am I doing the right thing? I mean, those are still very strong.
Yeah.
And if I can journal, like I've been doing a lot of journaling lately, and I'm reminding myself of the hardship that has happened all of my life, and the same patterns that have been repeated, not just by myself, but from others. And if I'm able to look at how they have negatively affected me all of my life, and focus on the fact that, and this goes with the grief thing too. This absolutely goes with the grief thing. If I can look and say, there is a better way, I deserve more. I don't need to be stuck in this hell
Mm,
situation, or in this constant negativity or toxicity or grief, right? We always talk about how we have a choice. We have a choice. And it is our choice to allow shit to continue,
yes.
or to allow it to change, no matter how hard it is to change. That's also, I mean, that goes with everything in life, and the grief process, the upcoming angel dates. I don't know that I'm in a space anymore where I want to allow myself to spend 3 or 4 weeks before September 15th dreading the upcoming day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and feeling all of now my body is going to do what my body's going to do. And my body has been responding more so I think to the other life events than specifically. So it's kind of hard to tell right now in this
Sure.
moment what is causing what, and it's probably everything, the grief component and the life component. But if I choose to stay in that space, then that's on me. If I choose to I haven't eaten a lot in the past couple of weeks. My body is physically in survival mode. My anxiety has been extremely high. I haven't felt my body shake unnaturally like this in a long time. And I'm not going and crawling into bed and sleeping it off. And I'm still here for my girls, and we're doing things together and having dinners together. Now the dinners may look a little bit different, but I'm still there. I'm still there. I'm still present. I'm still working with my plants. I started rearranging stuff and doing stuff in my home. I'm doing things, healthy things, to keep me moving forward.
Yeah.
While I'm feeling all of these emotions.
Yeah.
Well, and where before we'd be like, okay, well, here's September 15th coming up. It'll be like, September 1st. I was telling you earlier.
It sucks. Yeah.
My mom, constantly says, I wish we could take September off of the calendar. And I don't disagree because, there's a lot of things that have happened in September over the past 20 years, really, that just have accumulated. It's like September for us is just the shit month.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And I think about it and I try not to let it consume me, to stop me from doing things that are good for me or self-care items or, like going to Danielle to train, I wouldn't. Hi, Danielle. A year ago, I wouldn't have done that. And, I would have just sat and I don't know, not done anything.
Again, this is sounding so much like it sounds weird, but it sounds like healing, right? But this is why healing is messy. It's not fucking. It's not like I think people sometimes mistake healing with like some sort of like, or maybe this is just me. I might be projecting for everyone listening, but I feel like it, or it seems like when you talk about healing, that it's like cleaning something. Like, oh, there's a streak, so to heal it, you just wipe it and it's clean and it's like back to new. Healing is not going back to new. You're not. All the healing that you do isn't going to bring Logan back. Like, that's not how that works. It's not that. There's scarring. That's healing, and scarring sucks. Scarring, you can see scars, you can feel scars. There's trauma involved in that. So it's not about going back or making it normal, whatever the fuck that even means. Like,
it's creating a new. It's creating a new. It's creating a different new. It's creating a new version of the before. Yeah. If you will.
It reminds me of the story with the donkey and the farmer in the well. Have you heard this?
Yes.
It's like that. That's healing.
But why don't you talk about it for those who haven't?
So farmer donkey falls into the well and it's stuck down there and he's like just grieving because it's like a mule and helps him it's like his entire livelihood for his farm. It's like the horsepower in the farm, right? So he's like really upset about it, and the donkey's like, help me. And he's like trying to get it food, and he's keeping it alive and keeping it, nurtured, but he can't get it out. And so eventually, from just so much pity for the donkey and so much grief, he decides he needs to just bury it because it's like there's no way he's going to keep it alive down there. He needs so he starts putting dirt on it to bury it, and he throws dirt and comes on to the donkey, and then he like just shakes it off, and he keeps doing it, and all of a sudden, donkey's able to stand a little higher on the well, and he realizes, oh, wait a minute, that's right. So he just keeps dumping dirt. And that's what life feels like sometimes. But what you do is you just kind of shake it off and stand on top of it. And you shake it. And then eventually the donkey comes.
Sorry.
And then, no. He keeps going, and eventually the donkey was high enough on the well from all the dirt that's being piled on top of it and shaking it up that it is able to escape the well. So the moral of the story is sometimes life fucking throws dirt on you and it looks hopeless, but it's part of That's what healing is. It looks like that. It's fucking messy and it feels like it just keeps dumping on you. You're like, God damn it. But eventually it's like you're actually leaving the well here.
Right. And when it dumps, what we tend to forget too is the idea of impermanence, right? Nothing stays the same forever. Nothing. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing that stays the same. And that has actually been very important for me to remind myself recently, is that things are temporary, feelings are temporary, the immense amount of grief, it's temporary. It doesn't mean that it's not always going to be with you. Am I still grieving my son? Of course I am.
Yeah. When would you know?
And am I choosing life? Am I choosing to do things for me and for my children that create positivity and create hope and joy and a reason to continue on? I don't know how long I've got left on this earth. I mean, it could be a day, it could be 5 years, it could be, how old am I? I've always,
and you of all people know how quickly life can end.
Right. And why I just don't see living. See, I've continued to tell Jordan that I'm dying at 80. And so I'm going first. And
I told Brie, I'm going to die young as late as possible.
I mean, I feel 80 is a good age, and I'm going to die peacefully in my sleep. I actually had that vision while I was under not anesthesia, but I was getting a root canal a few years ago. No, not ketamine. What are they? The gas. So while I was under that getting a root canal, I had a vision that I'll be dying at 80, but it'll be peaceful.
I will die before people yell at me for trying to help around the house. Like, what are you? I think Tom Segura has a bit about that. It's like, what are you doing? You're really old. He's like, I'm going to take the trash out. Are you fucking insane? You're going to break your back and die. Like, if you get to that point, it's like,
I know.
Hey, it's been a good run.
I know. But see, assuming that, that idea that popped into my mind, a few years ago is correct, then I still have 35 years to go. And I don't want to live 35 years under a constant blanket of grief and pain and negativity and toxicity. And I just don't.
Because it won't change a thing for you if you do. Like it won't, nothing will change. It's interesting. You mentioned this. The only constant thing in life, the only constant, which is ironic, paradoxical, however you want to look at it, the only thing that is consistent in your life, 100% consistent, is change.
Right.
Is change. This too shall pass. Things are well, you have a good job. Okay, don't worry about it. You won't later.
Right.
Or your job sucks and you make no money and like it's tough. Don't worry about it. It won't be like that later. Right? You lost your son and it sucks on September 16th.
15th.
I'm saying
2016.
I'm saying the next day. September 16th, 2016. Gotcha. That was the hardest day. And maybe there was another harder day. Wow. I mean, whatever, right? But now look, we're 9 years to the day.
I can't believe it's been 9 years.
Right. We're 9 years to the day. And you're saying things like, I mean, can you imagine 2016, September 16, 2016, Brooke, listening to September 8th, 2025, Brooke saying, I don't want to live the next 35 years in grief. Can you imagine you saying that to you? Like, no, that shows the work that you've been doing is working.
It's actually really hard for me to sit and watch others in similar situations not understand the value in living and finding joy and letting go of the small things and staying in the space of just misery. It is just so hard.
Yeah.
Because then you might as well just give up and die already. I mean, honestly, what the fuck's the point? Why are you even attempting to, live day to day?
I'm just so proud of you. Because, I mean, I just can't, like, from what you've told me where you were.
Also know what's going on behind the scenes.
Sure, but just even that, I'm just saying, like, I mean, I was here when you told the story to start this podcast, and the way that you described yourself then about how you were seeing life then, and all you've gone through and all the work you've put in, like, it's Yeah, it just seems like it kind of feels like the moment where when someone's been working to like run a marathon or like compete in something, and you've seen all the work and all the ankle sprains and all the tough moments and all the shit throughout, and then
Mm-hmm.
like I'm watching you like come to last point two of the 26.2, and I'm like, fucking look at you.
Wait, I'm
And
not
it
that. I know, but see, I don't know.
but
Who
but the
knows how long it'll take me to get actually
but the
that
but no,
far?
but my that's the analogy. But my point is, that what happens is when you get to 26.2, then all of a sudden it's like, cool, you're gonna run another marathon now,
Yeah,
because like, but that's life, right?
right.
Because it just gets fucking
Well, and here's the thing
harder.
too. Here's the thing that a lot of people I get curious around people who are actually doing work. I get curious and aren't seeing change, aren't finding the light, aren't finding the joy and the purpose and all of the things that can make life great, even in loss or grief or
Mm-hmm.
trauma or
Mm-hmm.
childhood trauma, for crying out loud. Like, how many people are going, okay, well, I'm going to therapy every week. But are you really going? Are you taking accountability and actually doing the work, or are you just checking off the boxes? And that's something too that I have actively attempted to work on, is being fully present in doing the work and following through with it outside of therapy. Like, not just going to therapy and saying, X, Y, and Z, and the therapist going, okay, and X, Y, and Z back. This is what I want you to practice on. This is what I want you to do. And then they go home and it's like the session didn't even happen.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
it's, account oops, sorry, there went my mic. It's because I'm very handsy when I talk. And that's the thing too, is that if I was sitting here today knowing that, yes, I have childhood trauma that is still affecting me. Yes, I have another anniversary of my son's death coming up. You know, yes, I'm sitting in a time frame right now where 9 years ago my life had gone to shambles, right? That's a lot to carry too. My body remembers all of that. If I were to go to therapy and talk about it, then come home and let it drive all of my responses, then I'm not doing what I need to be doing to find that joy and that way forward in life. However, it's so very important to me to go to trauma therapy and for my therapist to say, this and tools and use this and this. And I'm actually working with a wonderful woman right now who's helping me with some inner child work. Her name's Heather Luna. She will be on the show at
Hi,
some point.
Heather.
Yeah. Hi, Heather. Once we're done working with the initial series, I actually met her at the place, the resort, or the wellness resort that I went to in June, and she's phenomenal. And she's actually teaching me quite a bit. Um, and she's teaching me new breathing and new ways of embracing the negativity in my life, and breathing through it, and all sorts of new things, new tools that I didn't have in my box until now. And I find myself when I'm super anxious or if I'm really upset, first and foremost, she says, you've got to feel your feelings. And I already know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've been allowing myself to do that. If I'm crying, I'm allowing myself to stop fighting it and just let it happen. If my body's super anxious, I sit down and I do one of my favorites is taco tongue breathing, where you literally curl your tongue and you breathe in through the tongue and then you exhale through the tongue twice the amount of what you breathe in. So if you breathe
Yes.
in for 5 seconds, you
Mm-hmm.
breathe out for 10 seconds or more. So she'd already taught me to do that regularly, but
Yes.
taco tongue breathing for me has been a game changer. And I've been doing that a lot recently whenever I felt activated, or if I felt like I just wanted to go crawl in bed. I'm like, I'm not going to give in. I'm just not going to give in. I'm going to keep moving, because the only way through it, the only way past it, is to go through it, is to do the work, is to
Yes.
be active in the work, right? Is to
Mm-hmm.
be active in your mindset, your gratitude, is to be active in your awareness of not just what's going
I love
on, but
that.
how you're feeling inside,
Mm.
and allow it to happen,
Mm.
right? We as humans, we aren't taught that we can feel. We're taught to shove it away. We're taught to push it away.
Yep.
We're just not taught that it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. And when it's okay to feel what's not okay. Again, it is going to be temporary, right? It may not ever be the same, but the immense amount of pain can be temporary, can dissipate if you allow yourself to do the work, if you allow
Yes.
yourself
Yeah.
to embrace it.
Now, and here's the thing. I know for a
And
fact.
practice the work. I have to just
Yeah. I
practice.
mean, and I know for a fact that, like, I mean, what, and because, how do I say this? On this podcast, we're just honest with how this works, and you're spot on. But you and I both know, like, at least I can speak personally, but you could probably agree with this. But like that, there was a point where you were doing the work, and all you were doing was going to therapy. Like, you were stuck in that cycle. It's not like you're not
Yep.
saying this. You're not
No,
saying
no, no,
this
no,
out
no,
of
no, no.
like. You're not saying this like, I never just didn't, like, there was times where that, but that's why it takes time, is because part of the healing is just going to therapy and not doing any of the work afterwards. Now,
I mean, in fact, whenever I went back to Milestones in 2023, at the end of 2023, my primary therapist looked at me and said, "What are you doing spending all of your week every week going to this appointment and that appointment and this appointment and that appointment?" And for me, it was, well, if I'm doing the work, then, or if I'm going, right, then I'm doing the work. And what I came to learn was I was going all of those sessions, spending all of that money out of fear, as opposed to embracing that work, coming home, living the work, and feeling better. And now I have I have a couples, we have a couples therapist, and I have Tara, my trauma therapist, right? I
yeah,
don't go to all of these different people all of the time, trying to expect healing to come from them. Healing
that's
to
it.
come from them.
Correct.
It's not going to come
Yeah,
from them.
you are the donkey in the situation,
Yep.
not the farmer.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
like the therapist is throwing dirt on you and making you face
Yep.
the fear. Your job is to realize, oh, this sucks, and every time dirt lands on my head and my back, it's degrading and it's embarrassing and it hurts, or whatever negative emotion. Nah, that's not true. There's no such thing as a negative emotion. There's just information. There's just unpleasant emotions. Whatever unpleasant emotion you're feeling, and your job is shake it off and step on it, bro, because there's
Right.
more dirt coming and
Right.
more
I mean,
dirt
are
coming.
you going to allow it to just suffocate you?
You can.
I
You
mean,
can.
yeah, right. And that's the thing, is if you allow it to suffocate you, well, then, I mean, you only get one chance in this lifetime. You only get one. You don't, I mean, and that's to live it, right? The beauty of it is that so you get one chance to live on this earth as this shell of a body, as this human being. However, you can have ultimate chances your entire life to live the way you want to live, and live without fear, and live without trepidation, and live without anger, and live without resentment, and live through and around and past the trauma that creates all of these negative emotions,
Yes.
and keeps you a victim in life. I don't want to be a victim. I am changing my life. So instead of being the victim, I am the person choosing to have these choices and these changes, right?
Yep.
But you have to be willing to do it. You can't just get comfortable in driving. And like you said, that's how I was for a long time, especially after I left Milestones the first time, or residential trauma the first time. Um, I was doing, I had so much fear of going back into the negative, of falling back into a hole, that I started seeing so many people weekly and just, trying to keep on top of it. Well, guess what? I ended back up in residential trauma anyway,
Yeah.
right? I ended right back there anyway, doing
And
all of that, did nothing.
yeah, and what we don't know is if that's how it needed to happen for you to make the realization, or if you made the realization different. Like, we don't know, right? But that's just how it happened to you, right?
I believe that it all fell into place exactly how it was supposed to.
How it was supposed to, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I've told you this on this podcast before, that my favorite scene from all of the Matrix movies is on the did I tell you this?
Maybe.
Yeah, so I don't know if I've already said this. I've said this to a few people, so I
think
who
so.
I told. But
yeah,
basically,
Lawrence Fishburne says something.
Yeah. On the second movie, he goes, "No, what happened how it should have happened and could have happened any other way." And Neo goes, "How do you know?" He goes, "Because we're still alive."
Right.
And that's it. That's literally it. Like, you are where you are. So again, and we've touched on these so many things. So in a way, it feels like we haven't really covered anything new. But it's so funny to me to watch this, because the way that you're talking about this, even before my eyes in the last 20 episodes, is so different. So already, and I don't know if it's because of the podcast or because ketamine therapy has helped you come to some epiphanies or some mixture of everything in your life.
One thing.
Yeah, but that's even the point, right? Yeah. So it's funny because I love watching this. I love watching people grow before my eyes, and people who have been listening to this from the beginning are gonna listen to them. So I go, whoa!
I hope so.
Brooke is on one right now, and it's working because.
Wow. Yes.
It's awesome.
She most certainly is.
But again, even what you're going through, I know some of the background context and stuff that, that's happened. That is a sign of healing, right? And so this is beautiful to kind of showcase.
It's taking agency.
How it works. Yes.
Right. It's taking agency of your own life. It's stop making excuses. And
here's the thing. It's funny that you're saying this, because there's going to be people who listen to this, or people who share this with other people, and then those people are going to listen to this and go, yeah, but circumstances and this apply. And this is ready for my hot take. This is my hot take. Look, life sucks for all sorts of reasons. It's shit wall to wall, if we're honest, right? But if there's all this shit, there's got to be a pony somewhere, right? So there's people who I live in Portland, and sometimes I hear people maybe justifiably even say, "Oh, but the system's set up in a way that it doesn't help me, or like it's against me," or whether it's politically, or whether it's like life or whatever. Insurance companies are stealing, like all this stuff. Yes. Mm-hmm. All of that is correct. Yes. Yes. Okay. And it's not your fault. Mm-mm. It's your fucking problem, though. So, so get your shit together. Get your Richard together.
That's right.
And do something about it. Yep. That is the beauty. You don't live in a place where, again, and life is hard in this country. And I'm not saying this to get political. I'm just saying, aren't we lucky that we get to live in a place where, even though life sucks sometimes, or it can be hard, or the chips might be stacked against you for all of these different circumstances that may or may not have been in your control, and we still get to go, yeah, but I don't have to stay here.
Right.
And I'm not even talking physically. You don't have to be, okay. And so the reason I'm highlighting this is because there's people who I know, I live here in Portland, or I've heard friends or people in my life, but my landlord's an asshole, or my mom died, or I was born into poverty, or it's like, yeah, okay, we are listening to a lady whose son was killed in a car crash by an asshole, and she is still going. I mean, of all people who could have all of the reasons to complain, to not get back up, to not shake off the dirt, it's you, and any grieving parent out there who has, because that's, of all the things that I don't want, I feel like, and there's no way to compare what's bad or what's worse, but for me personally in my life, the idea of having Rio taken away from me is towards the top of the list of things I do not want to experience as I live. Mm-hmm. There's other things like torture and all this stuff, but like Rio dying, someone killing Rio in a way that is that horrific, and the way that you experience it, top of the list, to like top 3 things of like, I won't have that steak today.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
fucking sucks.
Yeah,
it does.
It
really
sucks
fucking suck.
ass. It sucks, Richard. It sucks. It sucks. It sucks all of it. It's like
I love that you keep using the word or the name.
It's
Richard.
it's a callback. I got to do it. But I mean, and I don't know. I can't speak for people listening, but I think most people that you talk to, most people who are parents, most people who are not parents even, would listen to that and go, "That's accurate." You know, like experiencing genocide or being in a community that's being genocided, if that's a word. Like that's probably up there. You know, like there's like things that you're like objectively, that fucking sucks. Probably worse than most things. Right. And again, I'm not trying to justify or compare people's bad, because that can get insensitive. So my point is, you experience that, right? You experience mental health challenges. Like,
yep.
You've like if you read a list of all the things that you don't want, you've like checked 4 of like the 10, right? And yet here we are.
Yep. Here we are
on the day almost of the anniversary, right? While you're also going through some really hard shit on top of that. And you're still able to say, yeah, but I gotta fucking deal. It's my job. It's my responsibility.
How about my choice?
And it is, more importantly than just your choice, it is, you get to make that choice.
Yep.
There are people in life, in the world, who don't get, like, there's people right now on this planet who that choice is not available to them. It's like, yeah, we have it hard here in America. There's people who have like these problems and they cannot do anything about it.
Oh, something just fell off the window again. It's always funny how that
Logan.
happens. Exactly.
Hi, Logan.
Oh, you should tell before we go, will you tell the story about your shirt too? Since technically this one's supposed to be about Logan, but I don't know, maybe next week.
Maybe that's Logan going,
because we're gonna record on the 15th.
Yeah, so that'll also be a day. Yeah.
I'll wear my Living for Logan shirt again next week.
We'll close with that. But anyway, all I'm just saying is there's people in this world who live, whether because they live in a country, like, I mean, a woman in the Middle East, in some parts of the Middle East, they don't have these choices. They don't have the ability to be like, wait, I can do something about this. Like, I have the freedom to do something about this. And that is a beautiful part of your life that you get to choose. And you are realizing, you've been realizing, you already knew, and you're reminding people today, it's still your fucking choice, man. And isn't it beautiful that it gets to be your choice? Imagine if you didn't have that, if you were powerless in your situation. That's awful. On top of that, on top of everything else, I'm hearing you, and it's so awesome and refreshing to hear you. Like, again, not that you've never said this. Again, these are things we've talked about before, but it's just so interesting that you're saying this on a day like this, on a day where like you had a rough weekend, you had a tough week before even that, and then this date's coming up. So normally you would expect, oh, this is going to be a tough, like, dreary, mopey type of day, which would be totally understandable. It'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. It's fucking tough, and it's a tough week, right? But instead, you're like, fuck that. I am a fucking adult, and I'm going to take care of business because I can and I will.
I am a human who chooses positivity and chooses to find joy and purpose in life,
and to not let the light fade.
That's right. Hey, did we talk about the fact that I got,
you got the
Mallory's
tattoo?
Yeah, I got it. Sorry for those of you who are watching. Don't let the light fade. I integrated it. Mallory's wise words. I integrated it into my sleeve.
So cool.
Yep. I'm going. Right. I actually have another tat session on Wednesday, and in honor of Logan, I know exactly what I'm going to do. So there, I'm kind of piecemealing it at this point, but before I die, I'm going to have, my body's probably going to be covered. My friend Alma says, just don't go above I think she said, it was either don't go above the neckline or the chest into the neck. I don't remember. And I'm like, so I've promised Alma that I won't go too far north on my body with the ink.
Don't run out of real estate. Okay. The story about my shirt real quick.
Yes.
It's brief, but it's very interesting. So for people who don't know, I'm wearing a Trauma Uncensored shirt. By the way, you can go to traumauncensored.com and purchase yourself one of these
That's
amazing
right.
shirts.
And we have tanks now too.
Shameless
Tank
plug, but
tops.
they're pretty legit and they're comfort colors, so they're like a good t-shirt. It's not one of those where you're like polyester or whatever. It's like nice cotton heavy. It's a nice fitting shirt. It's nice. But I packed it when I was traveling over the summer. Like this must have been months ago. And because I have an infant and because life has been crazy here, we've had guests and stuff who have been needing to use our washer and dryer while they were here and all this stuff. Long story short is, for a moment there, and still to this in some parts, our house is kind of like a mess with clothes in the guest bedroom. It's kind of embarrassing to even admit that, but it is. Okay, so, but long story short, I hadn't I hadn't been able to find this shirt for weeks. Like I'd been looking for it intentionally. Like I asked my wife, I'm like, hey, have you seen it? Like sometimes she does laundry, sometimes I do laundry, and I hadn't seen it when I did laundry. So I was like, hey, where's it been? I don't fucking know where it's at. And there's piles of clothes everywhere. I don't even know. Like life is crazy with an infant. Could not find it. And I knew we were recording this episode today for that was going to come out on the Angel date. So I was like, shit, I can't find it. I looked for it. I intentionally looked for it. Couldn't find it. And then right before we were recording, I had this other shirt on and I didn't feel like it was appropriate. So I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go change. And I'm like, let's just give it one more shot to try to look for it. And I said out loud, all right, Logan, buddy, help me out, man. Like, help me find it. And I just like reach into this giant pile of clothes and because you just kind of grab it from the bottom to just flip it over. Because sometimes it's like towels and like sheets. And so it's like a fucking mess. You know what I'm talking about when you get these big piles?
No, because my OCD
listen, OCD. Listen, OCD. Get out of my face with that. For the other people listening who do know what I'm talking about, there's like piles sometimes. It stacks up, man. All right. Normally, we don't have this problem.
Yes, you do.
That's not true.
That's fine.
That's not true. Sometimes we have this problem.
You're just going up against someone with OCD who is like, no.
Anyway, I go to reach to flip it over, and the shirt that I end up pulling out weeks later, I don't know how it even ended up there because that pile of clothes got washed over the weekend. So I don't even know, but it wasn't in there when I put it like to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why it was in there.
I don't know.
Does that make sense? Like I've done multiple loads of laundry in the week since I've been looking for the shirt and it wasn't in fact, that's part of the reason why I was doing laundry. I'm like, okay, it's gotta be one of like, is it in here? Nope. And I looked at all my drawers, couldn't find it. I was like, did I hang it up in my special shirt area? Because I have a special shirt area. I'm pretty organized with my clothes too. By the way, this is not a normal occurrence. It just was a hectic few weeks. Don't judge me, Brooke. I can hear and see the judgment.
I was just thinking about the organization in my own closet. That's actually what I was thinking about when you said that. So
I mean, I'm very organized with my clothes. Like I have all my shoes, like my Jordans are all anyway. It's very organized, but which is why it's weird that I couldn't find it. Like even Bree was like, it's weird that you can't find that shirt because I've seen all my other shirts. I've recycled. I've worn shirts again. I'm like knock bitch shirt. Have you seen that? I have them all. Anyway, could not have found the shirt, and then I literally go, "Come on, buddy, help me out, Logan. I need to find this shirt." And the first thing I grabbed was the shirt. I'm like, motherfucker, where is it?
Well, that was supposed to happen, so you could tell that story today, and maybe give people a reminder that it's not just black and white. There are a lot of shades in between that.
Yeah.
And that's another episode.
And so with that, I want to close with this. And I wanted to say thank you for sharing with me and with the public who your son is. And
did we get there?
Yeah, no, I mean, over the, I mean, this is going to be episode 20, over 20 hours.
Oh, I thought you meant
talking with you.
I thought you meant today because our goal was to talk about Logan.
It was a good conversation. Sort of. I think it was a worthy conversation. I think Logan is proud of how you talk today. So I would say that's good. But I just wanted to say thank you, people who have been listening to this regularly, through your family, through the guests in general that we've had on, right? Your husband and your daughter, sister-in-law, everybody who's been on here, would say, I think, that they've gotten to know Logan through each of you. And so I feel like I know him. And so I'm glad to know him. And I'm glad
he is an amazing soul. He was in his form here on earth. He was an amazing little human. And I only say was then because I'm talking about him in the physical space that he inhabited here. But otherwise, I will say he is, I mean, just an amazing, he's just a very bright light that I believe is helping guide us through this journey. And it's our responsibility to listen and to, make the choices to do what's to follow what's being given to us. So
yeah, he's out there going, "Hey, man, it's your life. Pay attention."
Mm-hmm.
On that note, thank you everybody for listening. This has been episode 20 of the Trauma Uncensored podcast.
Crazy, 20.
We are healing out loud.
Yes, we are. Although I'm not going to sing it.
It feels good. It feels good. Reinvigorating. My name is Andres Gambo. This is Brooke Scherer. Stay tuned for the next week's episode. We have a guest, and it's exciting.
Yes, we do.
It's gonna be fun.
There's actually an even bigger and more synchronistic component to that as well. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Wanted to hear. Bye, everybody.
Bye.